Happy Halloween, everybody. It's Sarah, the urban cowgirl. What do you think of my costume? I'm gonna be taking my kids trick-or-treating tonight, just like I know you guys are. So I've made a recipe for us that's gonna be really easy to just come home after trick-or-treating and have on the stove. It's a beef tortilla soup from the haunted Menger Hotel in San Antonio. I have the craziest story to tell you. It's all coming up next on Urban Cowgirl. Okay guys, so the beef tortilla soup is gonna start with an onion, just like all of my recipes. We have a joke going on around here that the first thing out of my mouth with every recipe is, okay, we're gonna start by cutting an onion, but you know what? That's just the classic veggies in Tex-Mex. So I'm using a white onion, and you can do that because it's a little bit more herbal, a little spicy. I like it. People act like chefs eventually get used to like that onion thing. No, I never got used to it, and I've been cooking for 10 years. So these are poblano peppers. You know, they kind of look like big bell peppers, but they have a lot more flavor. So I'm just gonna open it up so we can cut some diced poblano. Here we go. Just wanna take all the seeds out. Those don't cook up well. So the story behind this soup is that, you know, I'm a 7th generation Texan. We have a lot of chicken tortilla soup in Texas, and everybody knows that recipe, but I have never seen beef tortilla soup. So I went down to San Antonio for a really large conference called TLA. It's the Texas Librarians Conference. And authors go and, you know, we just appear, we meet with the librarians and stuff. And so I was going down and I decided that I would stay at a haunted hotel. This is a really famous hotel. It's called the Menger Hotel in San Antonio. And it is so old that the Rough Riders actually mustered upstairs in their bar. Everything is old antique wood. It's, you know, not really decorative. It's just extremely historical, and it is the coolest hotel. So I drove down from Dallas, and I get there at probably 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm all by myself, and I had a radio interview to do the next morning at like 5 a.m. And I get to this hotel, and it is so creepy, you guys. It has so much character. There's just places in it that you can't help but feel like so much history has taken place there that it's almost like the hotel itself is alive, you know? And I get to my room and I lay down and turn off the lights, and I just cannot sleep. Like, I am completely convinced that I'm gonna see a ghost, that something is gonna happen. And I never experienced anything by myself in that hotel room, although I could not sleep. But the very next day, I was with my friend Rebecca, who is also an author, and we had a couple drinks at the bar, and we decided to go ghost hunting. And we walked around, it was really dark, and I am telling you, there is just some places in that hotel where you feel something. It is so creepy. So this is their famous soup. And it is unlike any tortilla soup you will ever have because it has ground beef in it. And it is just excellent. I'll probably never go back to chicken tortilla soup. This has just become my favorite soup. Now I know when I go out of town, especially if I'm gonna be by myself, don't stay at a haunted hotel because you won't be able to sleep. But you may find a good soup recipe, and that's, you know, a bonus. So today I'm using these juicy tomatoes. You know, I feel like I talk a lot about tomatoes with you guys. And that's because a tomato is not a tomato, is not a tomato. I've said it before. Some dishes are better with tomatoes with very little water, and some dishes you don't mind that, and soup is one of those. So I use these big, flavorful, you know, garden variety tomatoes. because I want all that juice. That's gonna become a part of the picadillo, and it's gonna make things very flavorful. Okay, so we have our tomato all diced up, we have our poblano, we have our onion, and we have some garlic, and now I'm gonna get everything ready to start the soup. All right guys, so I'm all set up for everything. Now this is just a pound of 90-10 beef. You know, you want a little bit of fat because that's actually what we're gonna cook all the vegetables with, is that rendered fat. Okay, and so the first thing that I'm gonna do is just start browning it and breaking it down. You know, I love these wooden deals because it makes it really easy. And we'll just brown this just like we were making taco meat or something. Okay, so it's just kind of browned and I've added a little bit of salt to it. Now I'm gonna add the onion. You can add the poblano at the same time because they cook at about the same speed. The veggies are gonna start to soften and they need salt too. Everything needs to absorb salt as it's cooking. And that gives you something called depth of flavor, which means it just tastes much richer, much more flavorful than if you would have just salted it at the end. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and add the tomatoes and the garlic because they don't take very long to cook at all. Oh my God, it looks pretty. Okay, now I'm just gonna keep cooking this down, and I've got some different spices here. I've got cumin and black pepper. All of this is on the website, so you can just go and grab a printable. It'll be really easy for you. So we'll just stir that in, and then I've got some Mexican here. This is a chili powder that we have in Texas. It's a century old. Oh, I just love it. It's a richer chili powder. It probably is gonna remind you of all those great Tex-Mex restaurants that you've been to. If you don't understand or like you're not able to get the flavor that you get at a Tex-Mex restaurant, check your chili powder because most of the places in Texas are gonna be using Mexines or Gebhardts. Now we're gonna add some broth and then it's gonna be time to start simmering this. Okay, now as usual, I'm using a high protein stock. Not all stocks are created the same. You don't have to use this particular brand, but anything when you turn on the back and you look at the nutritional facts, it should say 4 grams of protein per serving. That means it's a really good quality. It's gonna be closer to homemade. You're gonna like it more. So I'm just gonna pour these 2 quarts in. This is 2 quarts. And then I'm going to get my favorite secret ingredient, and that is Mexican oregano. It's completely different than the oregano that you associate with the taste of spaghetti sauce. So it's really minty. It's a really soothing fragrance, kind of like closer to like thyme or something, but it's not like any other oregano that you've had. When you start to use it, I think that you'll prefer it to other oregano. And it's gonna be one of those classic ingredients that you can use in your chili, you can use in your tortilla soup, your enchiladas, to really bring out all of those great Mexican flavors. I'm gonna bring this up to a boil, add some cilantro, just a little bit, because we're gonna put more on top, but I just wanna kind of break some in. There we go, yum. And then we're just going to put the lid on and let this simmer for a while. Okay, let's check it out. It's been simmering for a while. So it looks really good. So to thicken this up, we're gonna be using something called a cornstarch slurry. I've got just a little tiny bit of water in here, and I'm gonna add some cornstarch. You really don't have to measure. It's not an exact science, but people say equal parts cornstarch and water. And I'll mix it together. Just get all the lumps out, and then we're gonna pour it in, and it is gonna thicken the soup quite quickly. Okay. Stir while you're pouring it in. Yeah. It doesn't end up being a very thick soup. It's just kind of nice to have it come together just a little bit at the end. And to really begin to thicken it, I'll just bring it up to a boil. So the cornstarch kind of becomes active as it reaches the boiling point. And to season it, I've just got a lime. I'm gonna squeeze in here. Yum. So to serve it, you wanna wait till after you're done trick-or-treating, then come on back to the house, and you'll just ladle yourself a bowl. Okay, so the fried tortillas that I made are right here, and I just put those on top. And then whenever you have your soup, you kind of get them all in the broth. But they're a little crispy too, so you get the contrast. You get the hot and the soft soup with those crunchy chips, kind of like tortilla chips. It's the best, oh my goodness. Okay, and then maybe just a squeeze of lime. Oh my God, yum. It didn't even take that much work, and it's ready when you are. That's the best part about it. Give it a taste. Just as good as the beef tortilla soup at the Menger Hotel in San Antonio. You guys, all of these principles, everything is gonna be available for you on urbancowgirllife.com. Try it out this Halloween. It'll be perfect and ready for you. You'll have a cool story you can tell the family. I'm Sarah Penrod, the Urban Cowgirl. We're here pretty regularly. We hope you subscribe. There's a little bell underneath me you can tap to get notifications for every time that we post a video. We will be seeing you soon, and I hope you have a happy Halloween.